Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to It's Something to Do with Pete and Will. We promise it's something to do. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to It's Something to Do with Pete and Will. We promise it's something to do.
Hi, I have a big, the meeting is being recorded thing on my, and I can't see my mouse. Great.
Oh.
And I just got like 100 boxes open on my,
Yeah.
let's see.
We're gonna.
All right, we're back. I mean, clearly the worst thing to happen to this podcast all week was me not being able to see at the beginning because of a big box over my screen. I don't know what else could top that. Got anything you want to share?
Well, I had a kind of a rough, we had to cancel this twice. I got sick last week and it was pretty jazzy.
Yeah,
we were saying with all the details, but
you still don't sound great. So whatever it was, and now this is, we're doing this on Monday, and so Thursday, your wife texted me that we can't do this on Thursday, Thursday.
Yeah.
And so now we're 4 days in. Wait, is that right? 5 days in.
Yeah.
And you still don't sound 100%. So suffice it to say, whatever it was.
Well, here's the thing though. Yesterday I couldn't, I would have gone in and said, hey, should we even do this because of how I sounded? But today it's exponentially better. I was drinking water with lemon and honey in it all night.
I would have said, I feel like this is a sign from the universe just to stop all of them.
All of what?
The podcast. Like, I think that's it. That's it. This is the time for you to just call it quits.
No, I disagree entirely. I think this is what keeps me alive.
Oh, well, I have bad news for you then.
This is my adrenaline.
This was the thing when you were in bed on Friday.
Yeah, it's like because
I have to do a shitty podcast with my friend. I can't.
Exactly. But that was the thing on Saturday. Saturday was my birthday, and that has nothing to do with it. But I was in bed, and we had friends from out of town over, and I couldn't even get out to tell them, hey. Well, that's not true, actually. I came out for about 4 minutes, and they gave me a gift. Oh, thank you guys so much. And then I went right back to bed. That was,
jeez, man.
I was ridden hard and put away wet.
Yes.
Yeah. The theme.
Yeah, that's awful. I'm glad you're feeling a little bit better.
Yeah, no, I feel a lot better.
Please go get considering all checked out.
It's fine. I can walk, I can talk, everything's good.
That's it. That's the bear. That's like that's your barrier for like, I'm fine.
Right.
I can walk, I can talk. So I must be, so I'm A-okay.
Yeah, I lost 17 pounds in 4 days. I don't think that's a good thing, but what are you gonna
do? I don't know. Again, please go get this checked.
I am.
Please go get this checked.
Yeah,
by a real doctor, not somebody who comes to your house and pricks you with
well, those are real doctors.
Old safety pin in the driveway.
Yeah, exactly. Now I have to get a tetanus shot.
Go to a real doctor, like go to a place, like go to a hospital where they
are. Doctor.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
And then they really now all they have to do is get your blood, and then they tell you, yeah, you have whatever it is. I won't even joke about it because there's a concern.
You're drinking too much Mike's Hard Lemonade. That's what it is.
Oh, we have a new sponsor this week.
Like you haven't been drinking Coca-Cola recently, have you?
This is the first one I've had in years. Oh, and this isn't the sponsor. This just happens to be what I'm drinking. Just so we don't get sued.
No. They're not
watching this. Tens of people that watch this, one of them.
They're not watching this. Yeah, exactly. They're gonna rat us out.
Yeah. What's interesting about my birthday is, I mean, this is just an interesting fact that I just learned right now, is Jason Sudeikis. His birthday is the same day,
Mhm.
but he's from Fairfax, Virginia, and was born in the same hospital I was.
Oh man.
Yeah, 1 year apart, which is pretty
Wow.
cool. And we've done stuff with him. Had I known that, I would have told him, "Hey, I'm from Fairfax."
Yeah. He'd been like, this is the life you could have had. Yeah.
It's
And now you got this.
it's non-transition Tuesday. Let's see. What's going on with you?
What is going on, man? McKenna heads back to work. Well, from the house. Wednesday.
Uh-huh.
And so yeah, I'm gonna be back on kid duty until I get more work. So yeah, I'm just gonna be in it.
That's
The
a
kid
lot
is
of work.
taking the kid is taking a turn too. The boy is not a chill baby at all. His like favorite thing is freaking the fuck out now. Just like
No.
freaking the fuck out. And so putting him down for bed, waking him up. He only sleeps like 30 minutes. I think we talked about this a couple weeks ago. I like,
Well, no, he only sleeps for 30 minutes
at a time. Yeah.
Oh, that's
I have no, and I'm not kidding. I said I have no idea how we're going to do this going forward, which could be a conversation we have off air. But because he is
we've got
chill.
some remedies.
He is not chill. So yeah, he likes mom, and not that he doesn't like me. He's down to like play, but then when it comes time for like going to bed, he just gets so worked up, and like once I'll hand him to McKenna, and he just like calms right down. He's just really attached to her.
Well, I mean, at least you have something like that.
Yes, the problem is going to be she's not always going to be available because she's going to be working from home, right. And she's got the kind of job where she's just in meetings all day long.
Yeah.
So
that's Bridget.
Yeah. So it'll be rough for both of us. She's not sleeping. The baby, like, won't sleep unless he's being held. Yeah. Like we put him down, he just like wakes up a minute later. He like realizes that he's not being held. He pops his eyes open and he's just like, ah! Pick him up, fucking hold him. I might be losing my hearing.
That's like you and I when I'm not being held.
Yeah.
Bridget.
So yes, man, we're going through it, but it's a different, obviously, than you're going through it. But shit, man. Whew, it's fucking stressful.
Well, thank you for making the time for this smash hit show. This is going to lead to many wonderful things for both of us.
That's going to enjoy this being the last one.
Don't joke.
I'm not joking.
Is that true? Are you quitting?
No, but at a certain point, it's going to be like, hey, when you've got other things to do, and I'm going to be like, yeah, I can't do this. I just can't do this.
Well, you just carve out any hour of the day. It doesn't matter. We can do it.
I can't carve out any hour of the day. My hours are full, Pete. I have a fucking baby. I'm going to be taken care of.
There'll be 30-minute episodes.
I'll be on the phone. I won't be on camera. I'll just be on the phone.
Yeah, right on. We'll just listen in on all this.
But then I'll be perfectly frank. I'm also not going to let this, like, if it's like, I got to get out to a pot, like if it becomes like a stressful thing, I'm just going to stop doing it. You know what I mean? Like,
don't stress about it.
No, I'm not nearly as attached to this as to bring me back from the brink of death. So that like you and I will still be friends, but I don't need this. You know what I mean? If it's like, I gotta get out there to talk to Pia, so I gotta get back into the baby, I'll be like, yeah, I'm not doing this fucking anymore. This is not worth it.
Yeah, but you don't feel like that, do you?
If I do, I will tell you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it won't be on the podcast, but
yeah, of course,
I'll obviously tell you like over the phone, like a human being. But yeah, but again, I'm heading into uncharted territory for myself.
I get it.
And knowing how I am.
If we have to take a break and pick back up later on when you have time, then we can do that.
Take a break of 7.5 years.
Well, that's what we do with the first one.
Oh God.
3.5 years.
So other than that, that's the big thing, man. I mean, that's really like, that's taken up all of the oxygen in my life.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that.
I wanted to say rest in peace, Norm Macdonald. I loved him
Oh
as a
yeah.
comedian. But I have a couple of jokes that he wrote. One of which is, I don't want to brag. He was on Letterman. He's like, I don't want to brag, but Oprah and I are getting paid the same tonight. Because I don't know if you know that whoever comes on, they get like $600 and that's it. It's a flat
Yeah,
rate.
yeah.
Uh, and he said now everybody they take their pictures with their phone. Back in the day, if you held a phone up to take a picture, people would put you in the hospital. And now in the future, they're gonna be like, want to see pictures of your grandpa? And there's 100,000 of them because every single day was chronicled. You know? Whereas when we were growing up, what do we have? 70?
Yeah. You
Maybe.
got like one photo album, and if you lose it,
Yeah.
that's it. There's really, you might as well just be.
Yeah, the one photo that if you get lost, then that's the photo they show the police. This is what he looks like now.
Yeah.
Well, this is a couple years ago, but it's close.
Dude. So I really haven't been following it, only like tangentially when I scroll through social media. But there was a this influencer couple who were on a cross-country trip, boyfriend, girlfriend. You're not throwing up now, are you? You're all right.
You can keep talking. I'm just blowing my nose.
Okay, so I mean, given everything you told me before you started, I just want to make sure. Because if I see this, and then this, and then this, I'm gonna. I don't want to keep going with the fucking story.
We wouldn't even be doing this if I wasn't out of the woods.
So van influencers, boyfriend, girlfriend, cross-country trip. He comes back without her.
Oh.
Have you been? Yeah, you must not have been following the story at all.
Comes back. The fiance took off. It wasn't open trying to find her, and then they just found her yesterday.
Her body.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So maybe it's the same one. And I guess part of the way that this was found, they were found.
Yeah, it's the same one. Yeah. Because there
was like another YouTube influencer was going through their footage and saw their van and was able to like identify the date and where they were when they shot that video, told the cops went and looked in that area and found the fucking body there. So speaking of like having thousands of photos of every single moment of your day, like,
yeah,
well, there's like this other random YouTuber that fucking saw their van on his video and was like, holy shit, is that the van of that missing couple? And told the cops.
Well, they had an hour of cop footage. They pulled him over. They got her out, and we're talking to her, talking to him. They ended up, getting him a hotel room so that they could just stay away from each other for the night because they were having some row.
Yeah.
And then I guess they had gotten back together the next day, but that's the last footage of her.
Yeah.
And then gone.
Fucking crazy, man. Fucking crazy.
Again, we've said this, like, just get a divorce. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah. I mean, at that point, it's like your relationship is so toxic. You're not like, you're not thinking. You're not in your right mind. You're not, of course, but
still. I can't even imagine taking.
And even for the guy, like he's clearly not right. Like not doing like a rational thing. Like if I recall, it was like he was saying that she was the crazy one, but like you could kind of tell on the video that like he was just fucking like needling at her until she would snap. But it's like
that's every one of those celebrity videos. And I don't defend Mel Gibson or anybody else that has snapped, but I feel like the
with Mel, if you go right to like bashing, a group of people, then it's not that you yelled at somebody; it's that it's what you yelled.
But here's the thing: is you can't hear what led up to it. You only hear his response. So she could have been needling him for days, and finally he was like, "That's it." you know, and then that's what they show you when she'd been fucking with him the entire time. Or like the owner of the Clippers or whatever. I mean, you just don't know what led up to somebody snapping. And that's just verbal stuff. But when it gets physical,
right, but it also could be the other way around.
Of
He
course,
could be
that's what I mean. I'm
doing
just
it to
using
her.
examples that are famous
Right.
examples.
I would still maintain that Mel, like if something racist comes out of your mouth, it's not what prompts you. It does not matter.
Yeah, but you and I are rational people. That's we don't have that in our
If
minds.
you like,
I'm not.
right.
It's never going to be something that I
If
say.
if you pick anybody who like, if the example would have been like, oh, back in the day, like a celebrity smashing a paparazzi's camera, you're like, okay, not the best call, but I understand it. But if somebody's like a Mel, like again, Mel was always like straight to like racist shit, and you're like, well, all right, he's showing us his cards. That's
Well,
who he
yeah,
is.
yeah. That
Doesn't really matter
that doesn't
like
come
what
from nowhere.
you're like, yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. It's like it's not like that's coming out of nowhere. It's like, yeah, I don't know. She just kept like they kept haranguing me about something, and then just racist stuff popped out of my mouth. It's like, no, guy, that's not the way it works.
Doesn't matter how drunk you or I get.
Exactly
never going to be it's
yeah. Once that stuff
first
starts
of all,
coming out of you,
we're not going to get in trouble. Second
it's
of all,
over. It's over.
we're never
So
going to say something like that to somebody.
no, God, no. And so yeah. I don't, but man, it's like, I'm sure, I'm sure all of this, will come up in
Court.
court, future podcasts, true crime, like documentaries
But
about.
they haven't found him yet, have they? Because
To be honest, I don't know, because they let him go. They were like, oh well, all right.
Well, no,
you
that
can
day
leave.
they did, but not. But since she went missing and now they found his body, I think they let him go.
Oh, I have no idea.
And he did not let him go. He took off, like he disappeared.
They can't find him. Yeah. I don't think that they've, at least as far as I know, again, because it's only a thing that I've been like kind of following on when I scroll through social media.
Exactly. It's in my periphery. I'm not.
Yeah, I don't know if they've. I mean, maybe by the time this airs, they'll have found him, but I have no clue.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean,
talk about
this
sort of the cancel culture. Yeah, you killed your fiance. Well, I mean, does that cancel me? Yeah, your show's canceled.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, you'll get a second. You'll get a second run in prison. Don't worry.
However, we could probably come up with some instances where it didn't cancel them because it was and you can't really prove it. So
no,
but you kind of know.
Yeah.
Because the rumor mill in Hollywood sometimes keeps a lot of stuff pretty secret.
But somebody had a I can't remember what it was. Yeah. Well, I mean, not anymore. Well, yes, that's true. Yes, to an extent. And I think it was much worse than it is now. And obviously, like bad stuff happens now. But I think people are much quicker to people are much quicker to call it out now. I think
with Harvey, Harvey, we worked with Harvey. We did, stuff for his movies and things, and talked to him, on red carpets or whatever, or did interviews with him.
Yeah, but I wouldn't consider that knowing him.
No, I didn't. Did I say knowing him? No, we worked with him. I didn't. Yeah, no, he didn't.
Again, I wouldn't consider that. I wouldn't consider that even working with.
Yeah,
we had like a, if you had like a 2-minute interaction with somebody, I don't, that's it. Like,
well, no, but we have sit down interviews and have a conversation beforehand, and just stuff like that. But anyway, the point is that that's somebody who everybody knew what he was doing. Everybody. And
you think people knew that he was like,
yes,
trying to rape people?
I do.
Okay.
Because a lot of people have said that. I mean, that's been said. Well, we knew he was a creep, but
right. But there's a difference between being a creep and being a rapist.
Yeah, but I don't know.
Right? Like you're handsy.
I don't know what they were inferring when they would say things like that.
Right. Yeah. But I would say if, and I think, if it's like he liked to sleep around, yeah, he's being a creep. But if you're like, oh, you're forcibly doing it, you're like, whatever he did, I was like countless women, the jerking off into a plant in front of some, the
Yeah.
whatever the KTLA anchor, like
Or
that's like
Cosby's
way
a
past
better
being a creep.
example. Cosby, everybody knew what Cosby was doing. And after everything happened, a lot of the comedians came out publicly and were like, yeah, I mean, it was well known that he was doing inappropriate stuff.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
again, they didn't give specifics or say this is what he was doing, but
Right.
clear, it's not a surprise that this is happening.
Sure. I mean, I guess so. Yeah.
But
I mean,
now he's free, so it's
well,
fine.
right. But on a tech, yeah. Yeah. So, I would always like hesitate to conflate what people were saying with somebody is creepy versus somebody is like an actual assailant.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like there's a difference in
But
those
somebody's
things.
not like,
And if
I'm not
some comedians are like, oh, he was kind of creepy and like was weird with girls, that's like, oh, that's not great. But if it was like, oh no, he's drugging them and then having sex with them unknowingly
but
when they don't know.
You can't say that unless you know that happened.
Right. So that's what I mean. If there's a difference between like knowing that somebody is an absolutely horrible piece of shit and like suspecting that they are up to weird shit.
But you read between the lines and you're like, okay, I see what you're trying to say, but you can't say it. Because that happens a lot. Even here on our show, there's things that we know or have heard that we're not going to talk about.
Right. But no like criminal behavior.
No.
Oh, well, listen, then maybe you're saying we know, but you fucking know. I don't know what you're talking about.
You really compartmentalize the job. You're like, I walk in the room, ask the questions, leave the room.
I absolutely do.
We sat there with these people sometimes and they would just talk and,
But nobody was like, yeah, I fucking drugged her and raped her.
Well, no, of course not.
Right.
Then
I do.
Get the police involved.
I do compartmentalize. I definitely compartmentalize the job. I feel like that was the only way in which I saw a way to do it.
Well, I did as well, but we were there much longer. So you'd come in and be there for, 10 minutes, or even if you were there for 2 hours waiting for interviews. There were times that they would come in early and we'd shoot the shit with everybody. And then you'd realize, oh, this guy's a little bit creepy. Because they'll say an off-color joke or something like that, and they're over familiar with you. And somebody that says something like that to essentially a stranger, like, that's a weird thing to say.
I don't have any of those. I don't have anything like recollection of something like that. I mean, God,
dude, it's so many years of it. So
thousands of interviews, like perhaps, but yeah, but to the point though, I think that stuff is much more readily called out now than it was, obviously, even 2018, like even when all the Me Too stuff happened. Now there's been a cascading effect where people just don't put up with that. And that's not to say that it never happens or that it still doesn't happen, or that
pendulum has swung very far this way, and it'll come back a little bit, and it just kind of needs to settle in the middle on the truth, because some people are saying things that you're like, and then people are also saying things that are very true. And then some, people are denying things that are true. It just the pendulum needs to kind of center.
I agree and disagree. For a pendulum to have to swing back in the direction back towards a place where people are accepting of poor behavior.
Right.
Mm-hmm. I don't think that's going to happen.
I don't think so either.
I don't think
and it shouldn't be.
And so what do I think about this? I don't know. Honestly, it doesn't really show any signs of slowing down. Because there was
but listen, what easily you and I can say is we minded our P's and Q's almost overly minded our P's and Q's. And then there's a lot of people that even that we worked with that didn't. And right. Like, well, listen, you tamp that down. You're not alone in this room. This let's
Sure.
let's change the
Well,
subject.
yeah, sure. Yeah. Oh God, I'm not talking about that. I mean,
Well,
I
that's
mean,
it's
again,
something if somebody walks by.
there's to get, yeah. I mean, and you could make an argument for like, say something that's like off color. Traditionally, that's something that somebody would get a pass on. Now they're not getting a pass on it. It depends on the room, I guess. And if
Well,
like
that's
the
the whole
room
thing with
is
HR.
like,
Know your audience.
yeah. And
No,
so, but if you do it in front of the wrong, the wrong person, it's like, a person who's got no tolerance for it, then yeah.
that's
And
that.
at this point, it's like, you're not blindsided by this.
Mm-mm.
I don't know if I have a lot of sympathy for it,
Right.
Because it's like, well, as we've talked about many times, we had to go through all the training. You had to fill out all the fucking shit. You had to go through like a yearly thing about it.
Yeah.
And if you're working at a corporation and you still don't fucking get it, all right, sorry,
You're out.
And as special as everybody wants to think they are, it's like, you can't fire me. Whatever. It's like, no, we can.
Totally replaceable.
Yeah. There's like 1,000 other people that could do this job within
the president of the company will be replaced.
Exactly. And I think, to that point, it was like, like Matt Lauer lost his job. People were like, oh, Matt Lauer, nobody, it was like, what are the people going to do without Matt Lauer? It's like, absolutely fucking, it's going to be like it was 3 days ago. It doesn't matter. Like people might have thought Matt was a singular talent, but all it's going to take is like a month before people are like, who? Matt who?
Right.
It doesn't, and that's the, so I guess my overall point is like, again, pretty big difference between like, saying something offensive, again, that deserves attention and it deserves repercussion, and like, pushing a girl into a corner. You know what I mean? Like those are very different things. They deserve very different repercussions.
What do you think about I feel like the vaccine has become the Trump news because Trump fell out of the news and they have to fill with something. So everybody's talking about the vaccine. I feel like at this point, everybody knows about the vaccine and they've taken a stance.
Mm-hmm.
And so NBC has enacted that you have to be vaccinated. Disney has enacted you have to be vaccinated.
Yeah.
But I feel like they're just talking it to death. We get it. And again, you and I are vaccinated, but I mean, I don't know who they're talking to anymore.
People who aren't vaccinated.
Yeah, but they're not vaccinated because they don't want to be vaccinated.
Right. Yes.
They're making a stance against it.
Yes.
And unless you hold them down on an airplane and duct tape them to the chair,
there may be a like, you can't fucking travel through the air unless you've got a vaccine.
Yeah. And
rule soon.
Listen,
how do I feel about like vaccine mandates in general?
Well, no, just the discussion of it because it's constant.
Oh, I mean, if you pay attention to it, and I'm not really paying attention to it.
Well, because we're already done, but yeah, I mean, and I guess in general, it's a slippery slope because if you're walking around just poking people when they don't want to be poked.
Well, that's not how it works.
No, but that's what I'm saying though. Is,
nobody's walking around jabbing people on the arm when they're like getting out of their car.
I'm obviously being facetious, but or hyperbolic. But the if you're forcing people to go in, because Nicki Minaj came out and she was like, it's up to the person what they want to do, which for some reason they took that as her being an anti-vaxxer. I'm not sure if she's vaccinated or not, but she's
my take on this would be, look, I understand that people want to say like, oh, well, it affects my health. But if you can pass a thing to another person, there's like, yeah, then it's a public health thing. But and it's not really a personal health.
It affects your health until you get it.
I mean,
I don't know if,
So that's my thing. It's like, like I got little kids and they're not old enough to get vaccinated yet. Right. And I am vaccinated. But if I go to work where it's like, it's a crapshoot as to who is and who isn't, and nobody's wearing masks inside, there's a greater possibility. It's small, but there's a greater possibility that I could get something.
The other variants.
I could get a variant, I could get COVID, and then I could pass it to my kid, and who will either have a favorable or unfavorable outcome. Might be a mild case, might wind up in children's hospital for a few weeks. I don't really frankly want either of those. And they don't have the choice to go and get vaccinated. So for me, it's like, you're an adult, you have a choice, but one of them is, in my opinion, the wrong choice.
Right.
Because of the people in the world that you live in, where the most delicate amongst us can't get protected from a thing that we don't really know that much about. Maybe it's like the flu and you're fine after you get it. Maybe you've got it for months. And again, my thing has always been like, I don't want my kids to get it, because if my kids get it and it does turn into like a long COVID situation, that might be impacting their development before they've even had a chance to live their lives. Like if there's something where they get like a deep chest cough for 6 months, like,
it scar their lungs.
Does that destroy my kid's ability to play fucking little league soccer or whatever the fuck when they're old? And so to me, that's my point. Like, that's my take on it. Like, yes, you have the choice not to do this. You also have the choice to be kind of an asshole about it.
I think that a lot of people that are deciding not to take it don't have kids.
Perhaps. And that's it. And it's like,
this thing isn't a thing. It's like, well, no, it is. Not only is it a thing,
you could always pass it to somebody else. And the variants are born not in vaccinated people, in unvaccinated people. So you're kind of like perpetuating this thing going forward and forward and forward. You know what? Like we've had our kids in daycares. You've got your kids in school. You need to have up-to-date vaccination records.
And they still get sick. They got like that.
Wait, but it's like they're not getting measles, right? Like they're not getting they're not getting something that could kill them.
Nothing like that, but they still pass it on.
But I feel like that's a thing that's like, well, they're still getting sick. Like we could give them all kinds of shots. They're still going to get something. Like, yeah, but they're not going to get a thing that could potentially fucking kill them.
Yeah, they're not going to get
whooping. And so it's exactly, when there was like these fucking assholes on the West Side and in Glendale who like didn't vaccinate their kids for the measles because they're like, oh, who gets the measles anymore? And then all of a sudden, a bunch of kids got the fucking measles. Our doctor was like, don't take them on a plane. Like we were going to, I guess we just had one at the time. We were going to go to New York to visit my family. And our doctor was like, do you have to go? Do you have to take them? We were like, well, no. He's like, well, then I would really strongly suggest that you don't do it.
That or drive for a week.
Yeah, which is like, I'm fucking driving to New York with my child. So to me, it's like, yeah, the public health again, whatever it is, if people were fucking like, for as fucking petrified as people were and like understanding of like how AIDS transfers, it was like, oh, I don't want to get it. And they went through like insane lengths. Even though there's a very specific way you got AIDS.
Yeah, and everybody
now it's like, yeah, exactly. And now it's like, yeah, oh, fuck it.
Well, that's if you could freaking out on the airplanes. It's these guys that got the mask down, and it's like here, like you have to cover your mouth and your nose. Like, what
so that's so that's so like and there's gonna come a point where like businesses want to fucking make money, and the thing that's going to require that like getting people back into an office, if they feel that that's the thing that's going to make them more money, and it's like, sorry, Jeffy doesn't want to get the shot. All right, well, these are our rules. We got 1,000 people that are willing to come back, and Jeffy's the holdout. Sorry, Jeffy.
Well,
you go find another job.
The kid in Abby's class got it.
Oh shit! No, I don't think you did tell me this.
Yeah, so she had to stay home for a week and do homeschooling when they were back in school, and this kid came in and tested positive. And
it was like 9,000 kids in the first week.
Yeah,
and mathematically, it's just like there's not going to be a super high
And they're
number
in
of them now.
masks and things, but they're kids. I mean, so the mask will fall down or whatever. But and
Right.
they're like partition. I mean, they're
And
doing the best they can, but you
I think
still.
people see it's like, well, they're wearing masks and they're still getting it. So what's the point of even wearing masks? Well, they're wearing masks and some kids got it. If they're not wearing masks, a lot of kids are going to get it. I have people have fucking lost the ability, I think, it seems like, or they're willfully.
There's no logic. So they're not logical. You can't throw logic at something that's illogical.
Exactly. It's more about like your feelings and, your team, like which team, which
don't
political party do you identify with?
Yeah.
And, and like,
and
that's where it's at, rather than you're just doing the thing. You all got them. All your kids had to get them when you put them in public school or daycare, like they all need it. And you get a and you get a
and they didn't fight about it then.
You travel to another country, you gotta get it. Like I think people are just freaked about it being. Are people freaked about it being new? I don't know what it is.
Yeah, but it's like they had to get vaccines all across the board, all leading up to this.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's like, well, this is not a joke. They're just upset by the intensity.
I also think it's there's just a distrust of whatever it's the media, the organization, like whatever you would call the organizations that like the CDC or National Health or whatever, whatever the organization, whatever the institution, that's what it is. That's what I'm looking for. They distrust an institution. So they're just like, they just are like not willing to believe. Or they have I guess there might be some people who still have like a legitimate hesitancy. They're like, I'm reading a lot of things and I can't figure out where the truth is. But I feel like at this point, it's like a really super slim minority. Now, I feel like you're right. It's mostly people who are, just angry about it.
Well, given all that, would you get on like a cruise ship?
No, fuck no.
Yeah, because we did a cruise for our honeymoon and it was like an 8-day, cost like 10 grand. It was all, I mean, it was really nice. It was a nice one. But like the last 2 days, I was just had seasickness. Like, I got to get off this stupid thing.
Yeah.
But back then, I mean, this is 17 years ago, 16 years ago, whatever. No, now I'm close. Well, no. Yeah, 16 years ago. And this kind of thing wasn't happening. But now, I mean.
Oh, no, now it's like, well, you
now
COVID.
They're selling out. But like people can't wait to get on a cruise ship.
5 years ago, it was like, oh, everybody got fucking diphtheria or whatever the fuck.
Or they caught fire.
One sank. People are like, yes, sign me up. I don't know. You can't. I don't know. What are you going to do? Maybe not everybody has the survival instinct.
Yeah.
Maybe not everybody has that little voice in them that's like, maybe that would be a great idea.
They get
on whatever. The little Disney cricket who's like, hey, maybe don't do that.
Yeah, they get on and there's no buffet and they're like, I only came for the buffet.
Yeah.
I wanted the buffet.
This is a boat where you can eat all you want, except to get past it, you have to dodge a swinging axe. It's like, well, sign me. I like my chances.
Yeah. Now I'm in. Give you a box.
You're watching people get fucking split in half in front of you. You're like, I think I can make it though. I think I can make it.
That's what the splash guard's for.
Yeah. That's people's mentality now. And it's like,
want to get on cruises. I can't.
Every fucking like public figure, not every public figure, but like it feels like when I'm scrolling through social media, like so many public figures who are like on the radio and like on TV and like really making a stand against vaccines and masks. It's like, guess what? It really feels like a lot of those people are dying from COVID. It really feels like a high percentage of like media personalities who are like, I'm not getting this shit. Fuck you. You can't tell me what to do. Then like 6 months later are like, oh, and by the way, they're dead.
I got it.
They got it. And then they died.
Yeah. I mean, you're essentially on a plane with 10,000 people on it or 4,000 people or whatever.
Oh, go back to cruises.
Yeah, because it's all recirculated air in the cabin.
Yeah. Again, it was like, I don't remember what it was. The one that fell over near Italy.
Oh yeah, when he hit the Well,
I feel like there was another one where it was like shit was coming out of the faucets and stuff.
it,
And I was like,
it fell over, and then they found the captain eating lunch. I'm not kidding. He was eating lunch, and the thing was
it's,
on its side. He went to jail.
I think I do have like a little bit of like, I'm fascinated by stuff like that in general, even though I don't think I would want to do it for a week. Cause I think I would get a little seasick, but, I am kind of fascinated by
You
just
get
giant
seasick.
behemoth.
Knowing what I know about you, you get.
See, yeah, oh yeah. I'm sort of fascinated by things that are like that size, and it's got all of these things. And I'm also fascinated in the people that would voluntarily want to go on a thing like that. Like, what is that experience like? But
Have
I
you been
don't
on
think
a
bad
cruise?
enough. No, but I don't think bad enough to want to get on a cruise. No.
No, I mean, in theory, they're fun because you got a casino on there, and it's
Exactly.
buffet and
It's
all
got
that stuff.
everything. It's like a giant
Yeah, they
mall
have
on.
comedians and stuff like that. Would you ever do comedy?
No, otherwise I would have done it.
You never do stand up?
I don't think so.
You can write comedy stuff. You're funny. It'd be one of those things like, I did it.
Yeah. I mean, I think
You don't have a desire.
no, I think when I was younger and I grew up watching a lot of stand up, and I, really admired a lot of stand up comics and really found a lot of things funny. But at this point in my life, no, I don't think so. I mean, God, I wish I did. It
I'd
would
get
be
out.
another, it
Rodney
would be
Dangerfield
another,
didn't do anything until he was 44.
it would be another like sort of interesting tool to have in my toolkit.
Your arsenal, yeah.
But no, I just don't think that I don't know. I don't know. No, I don't think
I
so.
think you'd be good at it.
Thank you. I've heard that before, but I don't think, yeah, I don't know. The idea of like the lifestyle doesn't really
You
appeal
have
to me.
no. Well,
I don't really
that's my problem with it.
I don't
You
really
have
want
you
to.
have good cadence, but I don't want to be gone every weekend from Thursday to
No,
Sunday.
I don't want to be. Yes, exactly. I don't want to put in the work. I don't want to put in the work.
Well, and you have to fly all over the country constantly.
Yeah.
Like every
Yeah.
comedian now, because they're off for a year, they've got every city in the country. They're going to every
Yeah.
single one.
And
And
then you
that
have to like
sounds
hang out
so
with other
laborious.
comedians.
Well, I wouldn't mind that.
I don't think I want to do
I
that.
just the travel aspect of it. You're just all over the place, staying in hotels constantly.
Yeah.
All that stuff. I mean, if you're big enough, you have your own bus. But even
Sure.
then,
Yeah.
you're getting on a plane to, at
Yeah.
some point.
I think at some point it probably really, when I was like a kid, it probably really appealed to me. And now as an adult, it's like, I don't know. And then, just sort of functionally, like, I don't know, again, like I wouldn't even know where to start with like putting together material. And I think the kind of person that I am, like even if I jotted ideas down, I'd read them
You just
back.
come on, you're like, how's
I'd read them.
everybody doing, Cleveland?
I'd
Not
read
in
through.
Cleveland. You're like, oh shit.
They're like, you live down the street from here. This is a coffee house, man.
You're in Boise.
You come in here all the time.
Yeah.
I think that I would look at stuff and be like, this is all garbage. This is all garbage. Because
you just punch it up. Because the stuff that I write,
know.
because I've got tons of stuff that I've written.
Sure, yeah.
And so you just go over and over and over. And then I mean, I've only gotten up twice, but both of they're both disasters. The stuff was funny. I mean, I got laughs, but it wasn't, you have to work it out. That's why the comedians, before they do a special, they'll spend like a year just going out.
Right. Yeah. I know. And it does seem like with the advent of like Netflix specials, they feel a lot less special than they used to.
Yeah. Well, that's for sure.
When there's one that's every year, it's like, what? There's like fucking 15 good minutes in here, and there's like 45 minutes of just.
And I've never even heard of this
garbage.
So,
well, heard of at this point, it's like we are 41-year-old. Wow, you're 46 now, 45. We are in our mid 40s. Like there are young comedians who I would never have heard of, but it's like, I wouldn't say that's like me not hearing about something. I don't think it's like a delegitimizer. But it's still like I'll watch specials on Netflix and I'm like, this sucks.
Well, like Annie Lederman, she's much younger
This
than her,
needed more
and
time.
she's really good. And there's a couple 20-year-old women that are really, really good. But it's got to be the material, like what you're talking about has to,
Yeah.
be reflective in not only your life, but is relatable to other people's lives. And I think a lot of them do that. And then there's some that you're just like, what the fuck is going on here?
Yeah. Like even there's some, I think even like bigger, like larger comedians when I watch, if they're doing a special every 2 or 3 years, it still feels like it's got the stuff and it still feels good. But when they were coming out like a year, like every year, it was like, this is, even if I recognize his name, like,
Carlin would
this,
do one like every 6 years or 5 years or whatever it was.
yeah. Well, they used to be
And so each one of them was really a special.
right, because it used to be like years of working the material, and there's like one, but it was like HBO, like that was it.
Yeah.
Like you could get like HBO had your special or whatever, maybe Showtime back in the day, but
And when it came out,
and that was it.
it was
And there were a few
so
of them.
tight. It was
Yeah.
such tight material. There weren't ums and ahs and things like that, or how you
Yeah,
doing?
now it's the churn.
Boom,
It's like
boom,
it's just the
boom,
churn
boom,
of shit.
boom,
Like
boom.
just get a new
Yeah,
one, get a new one
right,
up.
right. So
Yeah. But no,
well, actually, I've got to bounce, which is weird. Bridget's got a 3:00, and this is kind of her spot. But that was a wonderful one. I hope that life doesn't get too much in the way, and we can do this, even if we do it for 20 minutes. But if this is what we're going for, we nailed it.
all right.
My brother.
Get some rest.
I know I need it.
All right. Bye.